Today we're talking about Bobo. We'll figure out the recent updates, why the price actually went up 2x from the bottom, what is happening for this meme token at this stage, is currently a nice time to enter, or maybe you're looking to take profits if you're an older holder. And if you're a follower of this channel, you probably are an older holder of Bobo, right? And what are the levels to actually increase your position going into the bull cycle? We are definitely 100%. We are definitely at the start of the next leg up for Bitcoin. I'm saying currently on this channel, I was saying it for quite some time, we are going to $75,000 per BTC until the end of the year, 100%, probably quite sooner. Without further ado, let's actually start. Bobo just went up 2x from the recent low, from $27 million market cap back to 66. Some people might say that this pump was a bit artificial. It was not very organic. That crash, essentially one of the main guys behind this meme token, or at least the guys with the audience and with the reach that can definitely move the markets in this market right now, started to push it from time to time quite heavily. And we've seen this pump right here initially, then he stopped for some time, and there was a second pump right here as well. And some people might say, oh, it's not that organic, probably if it won't have crash, it won't be pumping that much. I would say that at this stage, the presence of crash in this coin is kind of priced into the potential of this coin as well, because he's essentially the main person meme-wise for the cycle as well. We'll go through some of his tweets, we'll go through what is happening with the token and certain projections as well. If you're actually on my channel and you click to the oldest video, you can see that the first video on my channel is actually about Bobo as well. I'm talking about Bobo in my first video and essentially in the second video about Bobo as well. 7-minute vid. Sorry, I do have some messages. You see, this is from my Dubai office, 9 minutes video, and this video was actually reposted by Bobo at the time. And I think that the page only had 1,000 subscribers, right? But what I would want to focus is that there is a lot of buzz on this market that meme coins might be dying, that it's not the time for them currently, and things like that. And I think it heavily depends on the current situation in the marketplace. We have to understand what is actually happening on the marketplace currently and where we are. We can imagine ourselves as this square, and this is us, right? What we are doing mostly, we are taking money from each other. So we are PvPing each other, like one guy send money here, one guy send money here. So we are mostly taking money and we are mostly focusing on the narratives that are kind of good, if not in the bear markets, but maybe in corrections. We do have some pumpage of Rollbit happening currently, and a lot of influencers are essentially speaking about Rollbit. I would say mainly it's because they were bought. Rollbit is making so much revenue they can buy anyone. And the issue is that yeah, some people are buying into Rollbit because of them, but anyway, like, the setup is not there because people understand that bull run is closer currently than it was before in the bear market. In the bear market, people love to focus on the projects that are focusing on real revenue and things like that. Bull run has different type of assets and that are yielding the highest ROI, the highest results. And we can also print another square right here. And this square is actually retail. All the tourists that will be coming into this market. I won't say that we have any tourists currently. We are at the end of 7 months correction. No one gives a shit about the market. And me, as a content creator on this market, I can see it 100%. When I put like some negative title, we're going down, everything is going to shit, I simply get more views. People are not ready for the market to actually reverse at this stage. People are not ready for the bull run currently. Yes, the funding rates, they might not actually show it, but I can definitely tell you 100% this is the situation that's happening currently. And when people essentially learn how to take money from each other, it's quite easy for them to take money from people that are coming here as a tourist. That's why I'm saying that in March and April, retail people that came, they were professionally robbed. Bears that capitulated into the market as well, they were professionally robbed by people that were present and were sitting in the market through all this time. That's why we only had like these 2 months of these bull run and price action. Partially it was also because of the reason of not that much liquidity inflows, because we still have, we don't still have a lot of liquidity in the system currently. Liquidity should be coming with the rate cuts, maybe with a change in the situation in the stock market. Maybe the stock market will start to correct and some funds will essentially flow into crypto. But I wanted to share this square with you so you would understand. And if I ask you, what do you think? What type of the asset Bobo is? Is this the type of the asset that attracts these people that are PvPing each other to death, that are taking profits after 2x in the current market, that don't want to hold anything? I won't say that this is the asset for these people. Bobo as a meme coin is the asset for these people. That's why it actually yields highest percentage of returns out there. And currently, we're still in the accumulation. And what's interesting is that a lot of people, they essentially sold their Bobo before the initial pump right here. The pump started essentially 17th of February. Wow, it's actually my birthday. Bobo started to pump in on my birthday. Very, very nice. So maybe on my birthday we will also have the new all-time high, right? So interesting situation right here is that, as you remember, we had gaming pump in October as well. We had Solana meme season. We had AVAX meme season. And all the market, they were selling the assets into these pumps. And I was just holding my Bobo. I was accumulating my Bobo on each and every breakout. And here, I was essentially sitting in 70% deep. And I remember I told to someone that I actually know that, wow, my Bobo back is 7K currently, and I can just double it easily. I would probably just want to put 7K more in. And someone I know, he said nah, you should not be focusing on the same meme coin. This fucking phrase costed me $1 million at least. I was a top 30 Bobo holder. If I would put 7K more at this stage, I would be top 10 probably, right? Just crazy how one phrase, it can change the reality significantly. It's so crazy. I would probably not be doing this channel. I would probably not give a fuck in the first place. Maybe it's kind of like the reality was set up in a way so I would have this experience, so I would acquire all these skills, so I would go through all this situation, right? But it's just crazy. If I would just bought 7K more, my portfolio at that time was 150 to 100K or something. I could easily just double down on Bobo. I would have way more. And the situation even currently probably would be much better at the edge of us multiplying. But these are just my mistakes. Probably a bunch of you made these type of mistakes as well. And a bunch of you are in situation currently or very, very soon to realize that if you were just holding your high conviction plays and doing nothing, you would actually be outperforming the current situation you are in currently. This is a very, very important and interesting take to have. But we have to play, we have to work what we have, right? So the thing I'm trying to say is that until this time, until 17th of February, right? Interesting, my birthday started the bull run, right? There was not a lot of retail in the marketplace. Bread actually launched somewhere around 23rd, 24th of February as well. So this was the launch of Bread. They timed the launch of Bread very, very nicely. And as you can see, the pump of Bobo was also kind of tied with the launch of Bread as well. So Crash started to receive a bunch of attention. It helped him as well to push the assets that he was sitting into and essentially get some additional capital for himself as well. But we're not talking about Crash, although we're talking about Crash a bit here because he's one of the main guys, I would say even the main guy behind Bobo. So at this stage, what do we have? The reason I'm telling you all this is to explain that this is not the asset for the PvP type of scenario. Fuck my life, fucking bottle of fucking water. Some Eastern European Slavic engineering. So I have these slides, right? But I'm not holding them with some special things. I'm just holding them with the bottle of waters, right? This is not the type of assets to perform well in the PvP. And this is the issue with this type of asset because it usually will perform well in the PvE. Currently, you might say that Crash is attracting a bit more PvE of the current players and things like that. But I want to say that this pump is actually not artificial, right? 136% from the bottom. I would say that this pump is partially artificial because it was pushed by one of the largest meme influencers in the market. That's why I kind of have expectations that we might be correcting quite soon. Honestly, I would love to increase my Bobo position. I kind of sold too much in the recent several months. It really hurts. If Bobo will just 2x from here, I would be hurt. Maybe some people will actually hear that and they will make sure it will 2x from here, but whatever, right? So The situation here is definitely the asset that you're actually acquiring to be able to attract liquidity inflows during the PVE stage when the retail is coming. And all this time when you will be accumulating right here is essentially an expectation for this asset to appreciate once this PVE, once the large amount of retail is coming. And why I'm saying that this part is artificial is because on most of the meme coins from recent lows, we received from 30 to 70% depending on the performance of the meme coin. I would say average like is 50% pump. Here we had 130%. So you might say that it's like outlier, it outperformed, but it definitely outperformed and outlied essentially because of crash as well. So you have to understand these things. Obviously, if he will continue to just push this thing higher, it might be happening that we will be pushing higher, but at the same time, there is definitely a certain amount of people that are in the marketplace currently. And there are definitely not a lot of liquidity in the marketplace currently. Like people are not very comfortable in putting a lot of funds right now because they're thinking that we're still getting this last drop to 40k, 45k, 49k and things like that, which I think, to be honest, is not happening. So Bobo wise, did you actually know that Bobo is older than Pepe? Did you actually know that this is a widely used meme coin in the marketplace? It's not just like some forced thing. We have this thing from the Huobi, right? And Justin Sun is essentially the CEO of this thing, like the founder of this thing as well. It's interesting things that I have to say on Tron is that Justin Sun is the guy with like a very huge ego in the marketplace, and he pretty much has infinite amount of money. Imagine like you're running Tron network, everyone is exchanging USDT like Tether specifically on Tron network. I'm not sure how you guys are doing it in the West. Some of you might be using Binance, but Asia, Eastern Europe, everyone is just using Tron, right? So the guy has infinite amount of money. Therefore, most likely, he will just pump meme coin, like certain meme coins on his chain to billions just because of the ego. And this is the guy that can do it easily. And even if you would want to dump on him, he doesn't fucking care. He has too much money. And he is sharing Bobo in the bear market as well. During the bear market, Alex Becker, I was showing it in my videos as well. By the way, I want to say that probably I'm actually quite bad type of YouTuber. I do not understand this YouTube game well, right? Because I was talking about Bobo on $2 million market cap when no one was talking about Bobo. And when Bobo started to pump, I actually stopped talking about Bobo. Imagine your default influencer getting like 100x from the market, from conviction. Like you can check out this video, the conviction, it's not the one. I made like at least 3 to 4 videos. Crazy level of conviction. Imagine your default type of YouTuber actually hitting this play. How hard he was screaming about it. You would be hearing from him for months. Me personally, I pretty much stopped talking about this as it started to pump, which is very interesting, which is kind of it's probably the way I actually was brought up. Like I was discussing some of these issues with psychiatrists and stuff, but probably it's not very interesting to you, right? So the overview, I would want actually this thing to correct. I have certain levels. We have some chances for this thing to correct because the pump was a bit artificial, right? And the market, I do expect the market to be correcting. I would say that the current day from Sunday till Monday is a very important one. It's very important to see what will be happening tomorrow morning. Like I want to wake up tomorrow morning and I want to see what is happening. If we are dumping through the tomorrow morning, we'll probably be going up through the whole week. And I will be buying heavily tomorrow and maybe repositioning, right? Things will be at the current situation, or maybe we will be slightly up to 61k. I would bet that we will be correcting through the whole next week. But guys, the time is running out. I do think you have 2 weeks, max 3 weeks of accumulation left before the continuation of the bull run. Maybe we are getting some like Black Swan at like 49k. I'm not buying this bullshit. Everyone is too bearish and everyone they already sold, they have the tables on this side, they want to re-enter. Nah. Too many people are thinking the same. I've seen it with my views. I'm seeing it with my content. When I put whole thing in red and we are dumping and everything is bearish, people are watching. You are watching. You like to watch this currently. Do you know why you like to watch this currently? Because you're either fucking shorting or you want the prices to go down to buy more. This is why you're watching it. Do you think that no one else has this same type of setup currently? I don't think so. I think a bunch of people have the same type of setup on their end. Something Crash was saying that I actually want to talk about on June 12th of 2024. June is essentially the 6 months of the year, right? As someone who is up $1.5 million on Pepe and 2 million plus USD on Bobo. Shit, if I would actually like double down on Bobo at that day that I said this phrase, like my supply would probably be even larger than the crash supply. Just crazy. Bobo is better than Pepe. This is a very, very interesting thing. Pepe is definitely a meme that is very, very well known. Bobo is more closer to the financial markets. Did you know that on Wall Street, when the stock is dropping, they actually like saying Bobo? Or if someone got liquidated, like on the loan, they're saying Bobo as well. They're using this thing. It's a very, very old and interesting meme coin specific to the financial market. It's essentially a financial market meme. And you are feeling Bobo yourself all the time. You bought the coin, it went down. Bobo. You loaned this thing, it went down, you got liquidated. What do you feel? You feel fucking Bobo. This is what is happening with this meme token. Well, initially I was not expecting that this thing will go as much, right? But over time, in comparison to the last year, like currently, I would expect for it to be way higher than right now, to be honest with you, because my bet with Bobo was obviously Pepe beta play. Unfortunately, we started to get like so many Pepe beta plays, and I do understand like why this is happening. It's happening because people did not know about Bobo or did not believe in Bobo, and they felt salty and they created a bunch of their own Pepe beta plays. But I do think it's actually the best one, and essentially in comparison, it's also actually older than Pepe in the first place as well. Pepe is essentially a very, very good ran team by a cabal of fucking rich guys. They can do whatever they want. They have winter muted stuff. It's essentially a very, very well-known meme on the internet. It's probably like this trap for the retail for this cycle, right? But current levels, they're definitely very, very nice, and I do think that actually Pepe will probably outperform most of your alts in your portfolio at this stage. I do think so. If you are sitting like larger alts, I do think that Pepe is outperforming them, right? Because again, these are the assets that are specific for the PV type of scenario, and you want to be focused on the assets. You want to sit in the assets that are focused on the PV type of scenario. The only thing that you might want to change, right? Because it's a very, very interesting remark that I want to share. Is, for example, you are sitting in PV assets, right? And you're quite experienced in PvP type of market scenario. So what you want to do is maybe you would want to split some of your assets, some of your PV assets. Let's say you had like 100% into PV asset, like meme coins, gaming coins, like what retail loves. New layer ones that they're thinking that like changing it, like alternatives to Ethereum, Ethereum is dead and things like that, like Solana maybe, like Sui and others, right? You put a bit of your 100% of the PV into PvP. And the main reason for that, you take profits on this thing and you put it back into your PvE assets. So the goal with PvP assets is actually to get liquidity sooner. So you can reposition into PV asset and essentially increase your PV assets. So for example, in my case, in the last year, I did have an option and I was putting my money into the gaming coins. And I had some very, very nice multipliers. I think on VPP, I had 100K or 80K at the tops. I didn't take profit. I thought that we're going higher and stuff, right? So if I would take profit, I could have easily just sell it and put it all into Bobo, for example, right? But I did not know at that stage that Bobo would be performing this well. However, it was a very, very high conviction of mine because I was searching after and looking after the Pepe community for all the time, for all the bear market as well. So if you want, you may be doing something like this. I'm thinking that this is the main error. This is the main thing that people are actually making when saying currently that meme coins are dead, and probably they won't continue to perform, and probably higher caps will continue to perform mostly because what they're looking at themselves. They're looking at PvP type of scenario. And for themselves, they won't be probably buying into low cap memes because they lost a bunch of money. They will probably be buying into higher cap memes because they understand first they can enter with size, secondly they understand they will still appreciate, right? And they're not thinking about this PV type setup. We can easily be in the part of the market where short term meme coins will underperform a bit because on this move up, Ethereum currently is $2,400 because on this move up, essentially, we will have more and more retail guys like coming in, right? But the bulk of them, the largest part, would be like a crazy numbers like BTC 80K, BTC 100K, so they will come at the end. And these assets like Bobo, they will appreciate in price heavily when something like this will be happening. But through all this build up, larger caps will be surging up. Maybe some narratives that are more like safer, something like Rollbit that will be coming up, like larger gaming projects that are like showing some like fundamental and stuff. Maybe like AI coins, like something that people are more comfortable with, because most people are pussies essentially, right? They cannot put a bunch of the money into meme coins and be very, very fine with that, right? Because most people are unfortunately pussies, and that's why they're thinking this way. But I'm telling you 100% this won't be the situation long term. I do believe this PV type of scenario will come back, and we're talking about like 3.5k ETH, 4k ETH, BTC essentially around the previous all-time highs as well of the previous cycle, right? These things, they all will be coming back, and they will be coming back heavily. And even me personally, like, I did not perform well in PvP type of setup during the initial pump of like start of the winter, end of 2023, right? However, I did have some results with essentially gaming coins like VPP, Polker, like gaming shit coins that I like, very, very low caps, right? But it's worth it. It's definitely worth it just holding these PV assets into the PV part of the market, right? Because probably with all this trading, like the more actions you make, the larger is the chance for mistake. This is something that I'm seeing currently with my Bobo bags essentially as well. So moving further, targets for Bobo. It's quite interesting that I kind of feel that we might be at the edge where Bobo will finally get appreciated as a major meme coin Ethereum asset. And it kind of will be able to find this escape distance. I'm not sure what is the right phrase in English, like when the rocket is moving out of the earth and when the earth gravity does not work. Escape velocity, boys, right? So I kind of at the stage where Bobo can really find this escape velocity and just like grant itself as one of the like largest meme assets for this cycle, like MOG or something, right? We have MOG. What do we have except MOG on ETH with the same market cap? It's actually quite hard to say, to be honest with you, because you probably have MOG and then we have coins around the market cap of Bobo, right? So I do think that this thing actually deserves it. And I do think this is why Crash essentially picked it in the first place, because it's really a market meme. And it's a very, very nice quality meme. The artist is the dev himself. Like it has a bunch of guys that are supporting the community, like Pepe community, they're supporting this thing as well. So very, very interesting setup right there. No more Bobo for sale under 50 million. This is the post from yesterday. Us visionaries that remain will hold this precious and pure meme asset into the bull run. HTX, who you'll be following, sharing this, right? This next Bobo leg probably between a 10 to 30x depending on where you consider the leg starting from. This is one of the questions I wanted to talk about as well, because we have to understand where this liquidity will be coming from. And the easiest question is essentially from the pump of BTC and Ethereum. Ethereum is this type of asset that is just following BTC price action at this stage. To be honest, it feels like it's like a bit suppressed. I do believe that like some of the ETF inflows, they even were at zero at certain stages. It's almost like it's like manipulated by BlackRock, and it's almost like they might buy now this asset, but we will see what will be happening. Like people still have projections like of $12,000 to $15,000 per Ethereum, right? And it may sound too good, but we'll see, right? I do think like anyway, not depending on like ETH conservatively will be like 4, 5, 6k, and these meme assets, they will surge just like not even considering the fact that they are on ETH in the first place. Something I wanted to cover on Bobo is the presence on exchanges as well. So it's on Lbank, it's on xt.com. It's also on BitGet. Like BitGet listing, I think costs at least $500,000. So Bobo Def, I think, was sharing that he paid like something like $3 million in dollars essentially to be able to list it on exchanges. What's interesting is that I see only $3 million in volume, which kind of says that they might actually not have a market maker at this stage, which is a very, very interesting type of situation. I would say that something like Bobo might easily be getting interviewed at this stage as a market maker, because they got on COC, but COC is probably pushed by the AVEX Foundation. Wintermute is also the market maker for Ponke, right? Apple actually got Wintermute as a market maker as well, and Apple liquidity is definitely lower than Bobo at this stage. I do believe that Apple liquidity is 2.1 million and Bobo is at 2.9. So to sum up the whole thing, the narrative is still quite crazy. and it will continue to be crazy. Like, this thing is being used on Wall Street for decades. When range of you were not even born, probably was used already. Same as Snibo actually, the crab market. The crab market, it's essentially a phrase from 80s when the market is going sideways. Do you imagine 2024 and the crab market was actually used in 80s? It's just crazy. It feels like a different era, right? And the narrative is crazy. The team is quite good as well. The support from Crash, he will obviously continue to support this thing moving further into the cycle. The main question is whether or not it will actually be able to reach this escape velocity and essentially sit and be the same as Mock somewhere down the road. Whether or not these things would actually have a chance to happen. We'll see. From my point of view, I definitely see that this asset deserves that. And I would honestly like for this asset to be closer in the market cap to Pepe, because I don't think that there are assets out there that essentially are quite similar. And like Pepe, Bobo, they have a very, very nice connection together. I do believe they started to argue recently in terms of like Bobo connection to Pepe and stuff. I was not, to be honest, following much on it, but it kind of feels like this asset just should be reaching this escape velocity and things like that. However, meme coins are in a very, very different spot right now. I was checking out different charts of performance and how pairs are trading to each other, and I essentially saw that from the lows of 5th of August, a range of memes like large, like more established memes, like maybe 50, 100 million market cap, something like this, they've done like from 30 to 50 to 70% from the lows of 5th of August. And some gaming coins, they actually down 2x. So I'm thinking maybe this is the change that is happening. Because as mentioned, these coins, they do get most of the liquidity and most of the advantage from having more retail in the marketplace, more capital. These are the type of coins that they like to buy the most. Gaming coins, they do definitely like as well. So I would probably be actually creating a separate video of gaming gems, low caps that you might actually be entering, because it kind of feels like the wave is starting with Prime, with Super, sooner with IMX, sooner or later. The profits from these things will start to rotate in the sector, and we have a very, very nice chunk of large gaming influencers that will actually start to push these things. So this might be the next rotation, and do understand that gaming is kind of a very, very nice kickoff of the next leg up, because it's definitely PvP friendly, right? Current market participants, they kind of love to participate in gaming because we are all geeks. Like, I have 6,000 hours in Dota 2. I was playing Dota since I was 6 years old. Yesterday, like, I was watching Let's Play for Heroes 3, Might and Magic, right? So I spent some time playing, probably as you as well. Like, it's essentially something that we have in connection with this industry as well. So this is something that PvP part of the market likes nicely, and it attracts PV part as well, because I was talking to some guys like that have following, and they're saying that a bunch of people who are coming to the marketplace, they always want to ask like, what are your favorite gaming coins, what are your favorite gaming coins, because this type of future, this type of vision that's being sold, like being able to play, just play and make money and like build your empires in the game, it's almost like a metaverse inside the metaverse, because we're kind of living in the metaverse already. And I'm thinking, you know, like people, they just love games too much. They love these metaverses too much. Maybe because we are programmed this way. Maybe because inside we actually do understand that we are living in the metaverse already, that this is a simulation. And that's why we love to create simulations ourselves, and we love to live in them as well. Have you ever thought about that? I'm kind of thinking on that from time to time. So this is my overview at this stage. Notifications on for the tomorrow's video. Thank you very much. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Have a nice week ahead. Bye bye.